Welcome everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. Today we have a very interesting fireside chat and we are talking about leapfrogging AP with AI-powered automation and the challenges and opportunities therein. We'll wait for a few more minutes just to have everyone join and then we'll start. So welcome everyone. We have the pleasure and honor of having Craig Hassoun, VP of Controller at TouchTunes Music Group LLC with us. And it's a pleasure to talk to you, Craig. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. And hello to everybody on this webcam.
So Craig is VP of Controller at TouchTunes Music Group LLC. So Craig, please tell us more about TouchTunes.
Yeah, I just want to quickly highlight a couple of very interesting facts about TouchTunes. We look after the jukeboxes in your local bars and restaurants throughout North America, Canada, and Europe. And please feel free to go on to our app, see your local bars and see what's actually playing and see what's appropriate for yourself. We also offer free music through something called TouchTune at Work. Have a look at that for your own company. And do reach out to me through LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any questions after this presentation. Just keep in touch and give you some real world experiences.
Great. So yeah, so it's really a pleasure to have you, Craig, here with us. So today, in the Fireside Chat, we'll talk about some of the challenges and pain points that Craig faced, right, while he was, envisioning his AP function at TouchTunes. We'll talk about his vision, his goals, and of course, what he saw the role of AI in AP automation and how he benefited from it. So, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of the chat. So please keep typing your questions, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So with that, let's do a quick poll on all the attendees here, and we would like to understand, what are the challenges that you are facing today. So you'll see a poll show up in a minute, and then please fill out these this poll results, and we'll talk about the results soon. So we'll give another 30 seconds. Okay, I think everyone has voted. So let's look at the results. Yeah, I think this is really very interesting and on the lines of what we're seeing, right? So, don't have enough staff. I think the biggest pain point was approvals, which of course shows up a lot in our customer discussions, and high risk of fraud and compliance. Okay, those are really interesting findings there. So let's ask Craig about kind of what he faced as his challenges, right? So Craig, I'm sure you're seeing some of these challenges. So what were the specific challenges that you faced at TouchTunes?
Yeah, especially with the AP function, I can honestly say that everything that was on the poll that we experienced in terms of the challenges, and especially the internal customer service score that AP was facing at that time because of slow approvals, slow payments, and a lot of manual processing. And the time taken to actually pay vendors. So everything on that poll we've experienced, and you can see here in this slide here, we've experienced a lot of these different problems which slowed down the process in terms of multiple languages, information that was bad on the invoices. We have one vendor that looks like they're using old DOS from 30 years ago to create an invoice, and it's hard to read and hard to produce. So we had all those experiences in a manual process, which was absorbing our time and creating a lot of frustration through our organization.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. So, these are exactly on the lines of what we're seeing, right? So I think there's, of course, with COVID, I'm sure, you've seen this as well, right? The need to do more with less, finding talent, of course, is a huge issue. And then, regulatory compliance is something that also we see a lot, in our customer discussions. So the poll results are bang on, right? Exactly, hitting the nail on the head.
Yes.
Yeah, and so these are some of the results that we see as well. It could be very interesting for our audience here. We see that a lot of our customers have issues around late payments and and errors in their invoices as well as AP fraud. It showed up in the poll results as well, and the fact that the cost of processing is really high, right? Because there's a lot of manual processing that happens. So these are some of the average numbers. Of course, every organization is different, but these are kind of in line with what we're seeing. So Craig, given all the challenges that you had, right? So how do you see the overall function evolving? And when you started on this journey, what was your vision for the business function?
I mean, starting with the over finance function, finance and accounting function in total, I think we're trying to move to a real-time data, so which is meaningful to run our business. And we do need to automate more processes and move that so that our time is spent actually looking at the exceptions and helping out the business users and giving them data. That's from a total finance function. From the AP function, as you can see here, the business goals for the AP team are detailed here in quite some, so detail in terms of what's happening. But I think what's also important is using the Canvas tool. It creates time so we can actually get the regulatory compliance, which is becoming more and more complex, accurate. And whether it's 1099s you've got to produce for the tax team, 1042s for the vendors, the treatment of tax, whether it's Canadian tax, US tax, and making sure we're actually doing that correct. There's so many regulatory inputs now into the AP function that getting these 6 functions here is the basics, and then we have time to do more.
Right. Yeah. Great. And so, so before, you started on this journey, Craig, how did you handle this, right? What was the processes that you had working at TouchTunes, and what were the challenges that you saw with that?
Yeah, why we started this journey was because of data entry and the time it took to actually just put invoice detail into our system so we could actually get it approved, pay it, etc. And we were looking, I'm going to say, for an OCR product, an optical character reader product, and to reduce the manual entry. I mean, as you can see on the screen right now, we were that business in terms of manual processing, manual approvals, manual reconciliations. Everything was driven from a person's point of view, and we weren't using technology appropriately. So the first thing was to reduce the data entry time, and then chasing for approvals. As you saw in the poll, that's one of the big problems right now that everyone's experienced in the audience is they kind of ignore your email because there's an email overload. And it wasn't a good experience for the business. Everything, if someone was late or someone was screaming, they were blaming AP, and that wasn't always the case. It's in the channel, but it's not always an AP problem. So it's a very manual, and we're glad we moved through this.
Yeah. So we have another poll here, and I'm sure you'd see this day in, day out, and then effectively, we'd like to understand how much of your processes are manual today. So please participate in this poll. Give them another 10 seconds. Yeah. Okay, I think these are, again, very interesting results. So let's look at them. So that's really interesting because, that shows us that it's really, really manual, a lot of touch points, less than 3 times about 50%, 3 to 5 times is about 43%, and 5 times or more is 7%. So 3 or more times these invoices are being touched, I'm assuming, through the process, right? So that's a lot, right? And so that's, again, very interesting results. And, that tells me that, this process needs to be reinvented, right? And that's where I think, Canvas and of course AI comes to the rescue, right? And AI is been around, it's getting, of course, a lot of buzz recently and a lot of AI washing going on. But, if you think of artificial intelligence, is really to make machines emulate human intelligence, right? And not only just in language, in the way they express themselves, and the concepts are understood and problems solved, right? So that's really a definition from 1956. So this technology has been around. It's of course gotten a lot of attention, and now because of many reasons is finding a lot of applications, and that's where AI is coming to our rescue to do this, right? And so now of course with a lot of buzz around chat GPT and generative AI, this is getting a lot more attention, but AI has been in the works for the last 70 years. And so, so question for you, Craig, is, what role did you see? You of course were seeing all these challenges, manual touch points, manual processes. What and how did you start on this journey of AI-powered automation?
Yeah, as I indicated, we started on the journey by looking for to reduce the manual effort in our AP function through the OCR concept of getting that function into our AP activities. And I just want to indicate that moving to Canvas was like moving from a push lawnmower. The OCR would have been a powered lawnmower, and now we got Canvas. We're looking at a robot mower where you just set it, leave it, and you just still have to maintain it, but it actually does work by itself, which is really useful so that our AP function can actually do other activities of helping out across the business, whether it's in budgeting, whether it's in vendor management. A lot more added value in our business because of the automation and the AI tools that are actually happening inside the software.
Yeah.
Also, the business has seen like a 300% reduction in the frustration with the accounts payable department. And now we can actually see where the holdups are, where the bottlenecks are, and address those in real time so that things move a lot more smoother and people just concentrate on doing their jobs. I know the poll indicated most people touch it 3 to 5 times. We were on the high end there, definitely in terms of receiving the invoice, processing it, sending it out, chasing it again, chasing it a third time, and then bringing it back so we can make a payment. So the AI and the automation processes reduced our costs, and it's been a very powerful tool to improve our business.
Yeah, no, that's very glad to hear that. And so, here's some numbers, right? And that really brings it to the front and center, right? So automation has been around, and automation has solved the problem partially, right? So, if you just look at OCR and, the template-based solutions that used to exist, they've gotten to 60 to 70% of extraction accuracy. Templates, of course, were a lot of pain to build and manage, because if you have thousands of vendors and thousands of different templates, that's just a nightmare. And then of course this is best in class automation solution, and that's like still the price was very high. It's like $2.50 for processing an invoice and a cycle time of days. So this is where AI really helps, right? So AI powered automation changes the game, right? And that's where we are able to get rid of all the templates, get to a high extraction accuracy of 99.5% and reduce the cycle time to seconds, right? And that is a game changer. And so AI does play a key role in AI powered automation. So and AI, of course, a lot of AI washing going on, but in Canvas, of course, we have looked at it very, very closely and developed an in-house multi-stage AI engine that uses computer vision, fuzzy logic, machine learning, and NLP, along with, of course, OCR to get to that those benefits that we talked about. So those are very important things to consider, in an AP automation journey that you are on. And so, really high extraction accuracy, getting rid of templates, validating the data at the time of extraction, and protecting your sensitive data, and getting the benefits of cost savings and cycle time reduction. So those are really important things to consider, right? So you can go from very manual to automation. So Craig, maybe tell us now that you have gone down this path of working with Canvas and actually getting benefits. So how is the process today?
Yeah, the process is very automated, as you indicate here, because we're using this AI-driven tool with a lot of new features, which helps our business. Whether it's invoice being so electronically submitted to us by our vendors straight into Canvas to be processed, giving us the GL code, giving us the payment date, and all the details that are needed to run AP. And then it gets sent to an approval process. Again, our approval process right now is very much under 24 hours to get approval, all electronic driven. We do have reports that indicate how long it's been sitting with a certain person or a certain person's, and we then can chase the why. Maybe they're on vacation, but at least there's awareness, whereas before there was no awareness. So the automation process through this whole process flow has been very good in terms of helping our business run to reduce all those questions you had at the beginning of the presentation, whether it's accuracy, time to pay, taking the discounts, which you couldn't do before in a manual process. It was just too slow. Today, we can take discounts, and automated processing throughout all this function has been ideal for us. I just want to say that the return on investment is very important to our business, and I'm estimating that it's less than 1 year. And what's also important is we ran AP while Canvas was being implemented with the same people. The AP function implemented Canvas while they ran AP. So there wasn't a special team with a lot of downtime, and then you transition over. You do it in parallel and you run your business, and it's been a very valuable tool for us.
Yeah, so glad to hear that. And of course, it's one of our success stories, and I'd love to learn more about that, and let the audience know also about like what all benefits you've gotten out of Canvas and how you've solved some of the challenges.
Sure. Yeah, this slide is very important in terms of just indicating the challenges we had, what we've actually achieved, and then also the customer service within our company has improved so much that there isn't fingers being pointed towards AP for non-payment or for dropping the ball. Unfortunately, in AP process, they are the last persons to pay someone, so they always get blamed for being delayed. It's not always the case, but we now have data that can actually show where in the process there's hiccups. And that will always be the case, but at least we can see them now and address them as it happens. So the long invoice processing cycle time, instead of being days, is now, I'm going to say 3 days for every invoice, and then it can be on wait to be aged, so we don't pay on time. We can take discounts, as I indicated. The business challenges, not formally detailed as much as in this process or in this presentation, but we have actually met all the needs of all those challenges. One thing, once we had AP working efficiently, we introduced some more business challenges, one of them being royalties. One of the big problems with paying royalty invoices is there is a lot to pay, over 10,000, and any one transaction in a spreadsheet could be over 5,000 line items. We've actually been able to automate that using Canvas, and the processing time is very, very reasonable. I was going to say under 10 minutes. That used to take a couple days. So the processing power of the software and the accuracy of the software has added value to our business so we can do other things. We're not just doing manual entries anymore. So, the challenges are very substantial, and the benefits are tremendous for us. Very big supporter of Canvas. Obviously, I wouldn't be here, but I think once you understand how you can actually use Canvas, you can add extra functions in terms of, in our case, it was royalties, and we're also adding in expense management using the Canvas to actually make sure the approvals are done quickly and accurately.
Yeah. So that's great to hear, and of course, music to our ears, pun intended, right? So very interesting use case. And so, with that, we'll wait for questions. So if you have questions, and feel free to, send us your questions in the chat box, and then we'll answer those questions as they come in. So I'll give you.
I did get one question that came through, and it indicated that, how's the customer experience been? Because Canvas is good for AP, but is it good for the rest of the business? And I'm going to say even the most skeptical person in our business likes the approach with Canvas. They get an email. It's actually all detailed very nicely so they can look at the original invoice. They can review it again for the second time and push the approve button, and it goes into an approval process to be paid by AP. So even the most skeptical person has actually had a good experience using this.
That's great to hear. Yeah, so I see another question here that talks about, what are the different kinds of documents you can support. So we support a whole set of documents, whether they're PDFs or Word or Excel, could be images. We can handle all that, right? And they could be really complex documents where you have PDFs with multiple invoices in it. Or it could be with tables spanning pages, hundreds of line items in the tables. Those are all problems we solve every day, right? So those are not really challenges for us, right? We are already addressing those. So in case you're concerned about the complexity we can handle, we handle it really well. And they could be skewed documents, they could have low resolution documents. That's not a problem for us. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat that come to your mind. Okay, we'll give.
I was going to say, let me just say that if anybody wants to reach out directly to me, please do so. And please, send your questions through the chat line now or in the future. We can give you real life experience and help you with your understanding of Canvas and how to progress.
Yeah. So Craig, there was a question about royalty transactions. I think if you could just touch upon it and what exactly that is and how complex that is, right? So I know you talked about a little bit, but yeah, if you could just elaborate. There was a question about that.
Yeah, sure. The old process was very manual, and we had this very large spreadsheet which was manually input into our ERP system. And we were looking for a method where we could automate it. And by automating it, we reduced the potential for errors. So the problem was the volume of this transaction. Was an Excel spreadsheet gets loaded directly into Canvas. It gets checked by Canvas into our Oracle ERP system, so that whether the GL is correct, the vendor is correct, the vendor's name is correct, and the payment is there as well and recorded. And that's before was a lengthy process inside our ERP. Now we load it, it goes through the verification process, and then it's finalized within 10 minutes. So it's over every month it's over 5,000 lines, and it's a lot of data input. So that has been a real benefit. So now the royalty groups can actually use the information and use the data flow to look at the exceptions. So there's exceptions, and that comes up in Canvas. We manage the exceptions and move forward. And that process is really enlightening for everybody who's was involved in it, using the technology appropriately.
Yeah. Thanks, Craig. So there was another question, how will AI help approve invoices faster? So AI, so when we talk about Canvas, we talk about AI-powered automation, right? So AI helps you in many things. AI helps you in extraction, right? Because extraction accuracy is extremely important. If you're doing 60 to 70% accuracy, then you are still touching the invoices a lot, and that's where AI helps in extraction, where you can get to 99.5% accuracy, and so you don't have to touch invoices. We have gotten to a really high level of automation, up to 80 to 90% for PO-based invoices and non-PO invoices. And then, of course, AI helps you with things like detecting AP fraud, right? So, we have tens of algorithms that are AI powered and machine learning powered that detects anomalous invoices, and can flag them even before it becomes ever a problem for you. So AI helps you in many ways like that, and approvals are of course handled through automation. So our AI powered automation helps all these problems end to end. There was another question. Do you work with any accounting system? Do you work with NetSuite? Also, how are the approval logs look? Do the approval logs get imported and just stays in the automation tool? Yeah, so we work with a whole variety of accounting systems, including all the major Oracle suite of products, including NetSuite. And we can build connectors to any ERP. If you have something that is not standard, we'll definitely look into it. If it's a programmatic way of accessing the ERP, we can connect to it, and we can do the end-to-end automation. Is it possible to see a demonstration of Canvas? Yeah, of course. Please do feel free to reach out to us at info@canvas.ai or sales@canvas.ai, and then we'll be happy to do that. You can also reach out directly to me, and we'll be happy to show you a demo of Canvas. Any other questions?
I think one question came in terms of how involved is Canvas in the implementation. And I just want to indicate that the problems that we had challenges on, like the format of the date, may seem pretty simple, but we have to run the same system, whether it's Canadian date, US date, or UK date. And they can actually overcome all those nuances depending on your vendor and the setup of their invoice. It's not one style fits every company. Canvas is flexible in the implementation style, and to make sure they cover your uniqueness, because not every business is the same, not the vendors are the same, and there is flexibility in the software to actually adapt to a business need. So
Yeah,
just want to clear that.
That's a great point. Yeah, so typically we're in and out in 6 weeks. Our product does not need tons and tons of data to train. It really needs 5 samples of a document type to train, and we already trained this product on hundreds and thousands of invoices. So it should work right off the bat, and we only train for corner cases. That takes not more than 2 weeks. So typically we're in and out in 6 weeks. And what Craig was mentioning, we have this business rule engine in the product that validates all this data that we extract, and we also prefetch data from systems of records to validate with business rules, so we can do 2-way, 3-way matching and other things that are very commonly used in AP. We have a whole library of such business rules, and those can be customized. So in like Craig mentioned, if it's a US dollar versus Canadian dollar issue, it's a business rule we can add to the system easily, and it can be customized as well. So it's a low-code platform for adding new business rules. So typically 6 weeks is what we look at for implementations. Yeah, so Canvas supports 30 plus languages. We have a very powerful NLP engine. So natural language processing helps not only with English invoices, we support 30+ languages, which includes all major languages, that are European origin, right? So like Latin alphabet based. So you can think of German, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and others. And we not only support the languages, we are AI is actually really, really flexible and adaptable to different kinds of formats of invoices. That's why AI is so powerful, because you don't need to build templates, right? So there could be thousands of vendors internationally with different invoice formats. It's not a problem for us. That's where AI helps and shines through, right? So we do handle international invoices and formats, and we also have many customers who are internationally deployed and have presence in multiple continents and countries. Any other questions? Okay, so looks like we're slowing down on the questions. So this was really very interesting session. Thank you so much, Craig, for your time today. Really appreciate you joining us and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your experience with Canvas.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your time. It's been a good experience, and I look forward to seeing everybody soon.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for joining us today and sparing half an hour of your very busy day. Thanks a lot, and please do reach out to us if you have any more questions, or if you would like to see Canvas in action, we'll be happy to show it to you. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks, Akil. Thank you.
Okay, bye.